I am too, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 19 with Thomas Seelbinder from Model Match. Thomas, thanks so much for coming out and doing this with us today. As always, we're going to do a quick bio brought to you by GT5. Thomas Seelbinder, head of product at Model Match. Thomas is the mastermind behind making mortgage market intelligence plausible. Think actionable AI. Yes, it's more than buzzwords that help loan officers and recruiters find the right referral partners without the usual goose chase. He's the guy transforming terse data into turbocharged growth. When not orchestrating product magic, he's probably worrying that someone might faint at an impromptu CFO joke. Glad to have him here today to prove that even mortgages can be exciting. I am curious why did GBT make the reference to CFO jokes? Like
I don't know. Maybe there's a maybe there's a promotion in my future, man.
I don't know, like if you pick on your CFO on social media or something. I'm not sure.
I don't know. But that was pretty accurate.
Not bad. All right. It's what's really interesting is it used to be much easier to do this. LinkedIn has now put a blocker, and GBT cannot, which again I find funny, right? Because it's Microsoft and this weird relationship between the two of them. You can no longer use GPT to scan a profile on LinkedIn and create a bio, so it can't read LinkedIn anymore. Sad days. So Thomas, as we were talking about before the show, no little kid says when they're 6 years old, I want to grow up and be head of product at a cloud-based SaaS mortgage company. No, I'm kidding. How did you end up here? What was the journey that brought you to the mortgage industry?
Yeah, it's a long one. I always refer. When I tell my story, I always refer to like linchpin moments, right? Everyone, all of us, everyone watching, we all have these linchpin moments where you can think back and you can think back to a one singular moment. Sometimes it's multiple moments put together, but there's always a singular moment where you have the option to go one direction and your entire life changes, or you go the other direction and your entire life changes the other way, right? Mm-hmm. And you're sitting here today and you think back on that moment and you think, gee, if I didn't go that direction, man, what would my life look like, right? Those are like those linchpin moments. My story, very high level, because I think we'd be here all day. My story starts off, I was 15, and so my whole working career, I've worked in software. I don't know anything else, right? Software from the age of 15. I started off doing data entry. I went to customer service. I've done billing. I've done mailroom. I've done every role pretty much you can ever imagine in the software world. And I've worked for one man that entire time. I still do. Still CEO of Model Match, Kirk Wolfvogel. I've worked for him since I've been 15. And I credit him for bringing me into this crazy world, right? We years and years ago, we ended up sharing an office in San Clemente, California. I'm originally from Orange County, California. I now live in the Carolinas, but I was born and raised Orange County. And we ended up sharing an office, which was with a company back then called Hammer House. And that was Drew Waterhouse. That was Eric Levin. And that was some others that were mortgage recruiters. And at the time, I was still working software, building platforms in the telecom space. So I was in telecom before mortgage. And Drew and them and Eric at Hammer House decided that they were insane too, and they wanted to build a software company and take all the methodologies that they were deploying as mortgage recruiters for Hammer House, the agency, and build a platform to allow mortgage lenders to, from prospect all the way through hire, a CRM, if you will, right, to manage their recruitment efforts. So a lot of their partners that they were recruiting for, build them a tool to allow them to manage that whole process. And so when things were winding down in the telecom space for myself, I was in the office. This idea of model match was getting tossed around. And it honestly started with, hey, do you want to come and build this platform? And you just do this. And I did that part-time, actually. When I first started for Model Match, the first version of the platform, it was still a part-time thing because I was still doing telecom. This is back in like 2014.
Okay.
You know? And so you just put some context around the year. And so I was doing that part-time. I was really staying at the office late. Back when we used to go to offices, these weird things called offices, we used to go there, you know, and I would stay at the office late, man. It was the late night at the office, and I would work on Model Match. I built the first sales pipeline for Model Match after hours, and then eventually we had a product. Eventually we had users, and the telecom thing winded down completely, and boom, here I am in the mortgage world. Yeah.
So
there you go.
So Model Match, was that around the old concept of like, this is the kind of company we are? What kind of originator are you? Are we a model match? Is that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So the concept of model match comes from what Drew Waterhouse and Eric Levin coined as recruiting towards the 6 core components. So these are like business, technology, geography, right? These are these components that you as a lender would recruit towards, right? We're looking for a loan officer that has alignment in these 6 core components. And I'm simplifying the hell out of it, right? But that's what you would do. And once you get to a point where you have enough conversation, you're building that relationship, well, then you know if you have a model match.
Got it.
There you go. Yeah.
So let's, by the way, I miss offices. I know, Chris, you're totally going to call me a fucking boomer for that comment.
Hey, what do you do? I'm in my
Hey,
office.
boomer. This guy's a boomer.
Look at the mountains, baby.
Hey, now who's a boomer? I miss it. I miss offices. I do. I'm tired of always being in my house. So Thomas, let's talk about model match. I know Mace, you sort of gave the simplest, but can we talk a little bit about what model match is doing today, right? What does the product look like? And what makes you guys different, right? Like, I mean, there is certainly, plenty of people who are in the space with this data, but I know also, everybody kind of has their own, spin on it, or their expertise. So
yeah,
tell us more about that.
Yeah. So what model match looks like today, right, is the what I refer to as like the all-in-one business development tool, right? And when we talk about access to data, this mortgage, and I don't try to ever overhype it on what it is or what it does, but access to mortgage data, access to real estate data, right? You're a loan officer. You want to find agents that are in your market that are consistently active. You want to see what they've done over a period of time. You want to see what originators they work with. How do you align with that agent if you're going to reach out to them and try to build a relationship, bring them on as a referral partner, an existing referral partner? How can you grow their business with them, your business with them? What does that opportunity look like? Down to the manager, the recruiter who's looking for loan officers and trying to see how many LOs their competitors are onboarding, how many LOs their competitors are losing, which LOs are in my market that I'm not talking to, who should I be talking to, and using data, leveraging data to really narrow their focus on who those prospects should be. And when I say business development, I really do believe, and I promote this myself when I have conversations around this subject, which is a loan officer recruits. We all recruit, right? There is no difference between a loan officer, engaging with a referral partner and a manager engaging with the loan officer. The outcome is the same. We want to build a relationship. We want to find alignment if there is any. And the outcome is the same. Let's do business together. Whether it's bringing on new production, right? an LO to an agent. When a new referral partner will start getting referrals from you, working with borrowers together, building up that relationship. So the outcome is the same. We're all recruiting in some fashion, leveraging this data to drive the focus. But most importantly, and then to your second part of your question, what makes us different is I think we're a little bit unique in that we didn't want to be a data company. That's not how we started, right? We started off as a recruiting CRM to enable our partners to manage prospect through hire. And that was before data even existed, right? In terms of like availability at this level. And so when data was initially coming around, that question of, well, who do I call became like the loudest thing in the room. Who do I call? I don't know who to call. Now that could be an excuse, right? You know who the loan officers are. You just call them. Through the conversations, you find out what they're doing and you find out who they are, what type of person they are, culture, all that sort of stuff. But we had to make a choice. Do we invest in this data? Do we go partner with someone and just integrate this data? And do we really want to become a market intelligence data platform and include that? If they would have listened to me, man, I wouldn't be sitting here because I said no, but they voted against me, man. And thank God I was wrong. You have to admit when you're wrong sometimes. I was way wrong back then. We made that investment, we did that, and we integrated data into the platform. What you see of Model Match today is the full second teardown of the product and built it from the ground up again a number of years ago. And it's the actionable piece to it, right? I've always believed if you're going to offer data, this type of data, it can't just be pretty charts and numbers on a screen. You gotta put the tools in front of whatever user we're talking about. It could be a loan officer or all the way up the ladder. You gotta make it actionable. And I don't care if that means that you gotta let them export, right? Without limitations, push it to another platform because that's what they're already invested in. Or with Model Match, right, you can create pipelines, you can add notes, set reminders, make phone calls. You can do all that top level engagement inside of one single environment. And coming from that, I think is what makes us a little bit unique in this space, as in we offer a lot of those tools just out of the box.
Got it. So you have more that you also have the tasks inside of that. So forgive me because I come from the capital market side, so I don't know the front end quite as well as
Andy's a boomer.
Chris, and I'm a boomer. So there are sort of some similarities when I look at like a product like Apollo IO, right? Where you've got the lead gen, but you also have the actionable data. It's just that yours is a much more a much more refined data set from that specific and a much more focused use case, if you will.
I think that's a great way to put it. Yeah, we're focused in on mortgage, real estate, title, right? When it comes to the data, but I think you make a fair comparison to a tool like Apollo or stuff like Seamless, right? Which is data is super, super important. Today it's what drives the product, but the success stories come out of the actionable aspects of it.
Yeah. And so it is interesting because so many platforms out there that do kind of have that data component or that lead generation component to it, it's become such a pain in the butt to necessarily use it, because to me, it's like, I want to be able to take action right there where the data is. So it's great to hear that you guys lean on that piece. Okay. So Chris, this will be interesting. Maybe you don't know this about me, but I am a firm believer that, and I'm not saying this, Thomas, just because you're on the show, that head of product is actually quite possibly the most important role in an organization. Hence why I think my co-founder and our CPO is far more integral to our organization than I am from that perspective. So how does Model Match look at in terms of driving the product roadmap? Like how much of that is you? How much of that is input from other people within the organization? Like what does that kind of look like for you guys?
Yeah, well, super important question, right? And I think every company is different. Every company, sometimes you have companies that have a love-hate relationship with product, right? Developers have a love-hate relationship with product. How features are prioritized is different. Model Match, and being here since day one, before there was even really a product, my vision of what product means is that you live and you die in the trenches, right? You can't in my opinion, you can't effectively understand where your product needs to go unless you can live in all the different roles. There's a company out of Southern California, fast food company, Del Taco, from California, Del Taco, right? And we used to be headquartered, not Model Match, a previous company, was headquartered next to Del Taco Corporation. And I knew some people that worked at Del Taco Corporation. And their CEO actually made it a rule that if you worked at the corporate office 2 weeks, I think it was 2 weeks out of the year, you had to go work at a store. So you actually had to go and work at a store. And you had to do, cashier, you're in the back making the food, you're at the drive-through, you're doing all those roles that you, of course, typically wouldn't do if you worked at the corporate office, right? And I remember that being a rule. And I think when I was probably 16, 17, I was like, oh yeah, right, man. Why would you ever do that, right? But now as I got older, I sort of did incorporate that into how me personally, how I grew up in the software world, which is I've been in so many different roles that it really allows you to gain a true understanding of, number one, not just your product as it is today, but what your users are trying to solve, because it never stops evolving, right? Your users come to you for one specific reason or a couple different reasons, and you're solving that problem for them today, but they're running a business too. And that business is evolving. And so as that business and that focus evolves, so does their view of your product. And so one of the things that we do at Model Match, I think really, really well is, I will be on calls all the way from your typical customer support all the way through to your high level, executive calls. So I'm interfacing with so many different types of users and so many different types of roles that, not to kind of pump myself up at all, but I have a very clear understanding of really what we need to do next. And but most importantly, what not to do next, right? Because you can waste so much time and so much money and so much effort into the wrong direction. And we just make that a part of our culture. You have as many conversations as you humanly can with different roles, and you listen more than you talk. And we're going to take that back, and we're going to use all of that information to drive our planning sessions. And I don't think it's failed us yet.
It's so smart. And as a funny note, I was sending out messages about Acoma conference coming up and trying to meet with people, and I had someone who replied back to a message, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not your guy," right? He's like, "I'm not your guy." Yeah. And what he meant was, I'm not the decision maker. And I was like, no, you're an end user. Like, you are my guy, right? And I think a lot of people fail in that, and is that like always looking for just the decision maker and only wanting to have a conversation with the decision maker. And the reality is the decision maker is never the end user and doesn't 100%. Really have as much of an insight. So I love the fact that you guys have all those conversations, because I think it is critical in making tech that's going to have a high adoption rate, especially.
Absolutely. 100%.
I have a funny addition because it's just kind of teed up right here. So Kelly Yale last week said to say, is he doing what I want him to do this year? No. Tell him I said that.
Yeah, Kelly was kind of
and then she said, and then she went on to say they're doing great things over there, and then sang your praises. And then so we said, hey, you get to ask Thomas one question. And this just kind of fits. That's why I'm jumping in here to ask it. You normally wait to the end, but she said you're gonna hate her for this. And so she said, why can't I just build a CRM that will ingest all that data?
Well, you gotta.
You can.
Oh, she always does this. You know, she always makes me stop for a moment. Yeah. Call me, chick. What are you doing? I don't know what you're doing. You gotta call me. Yeah. Yeah.
You guys live right by each other, right?
Yeah. She's in Charlotte. I'm up in Hickory, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the answer to that question, which is true, Kelly, call me, is that when it comes to mortgage and real estate data, I refer to it as like a space within a space. Like we're in the mortgage industry, but we're not like an LOS, right? We're not like these like these huge enterprise level platforms, right? So we're kind of like in this smaller industry within an industry. And the evolution in this space is almost overwhelming. It can be overwhelming if you allow it to be. There's more data that's becoming available. The data is going deeper. The data is getting more accurate. There's shifts that are happening almost on a daily basis in terms of what's available here, what you can't do. You know, there's so much that's evolving. There are things that I have to say no to 2 months ago that I can say yes to today, and which is actually good for me because I don't like to be bored, and this space is certainly not boring, at least right now. So I think that Kelly, just call me, Kelly. What are we doing? Just call me.
It is funny though, the whole like, well, why can't I just build, right? And it's like we have this joke, Tim and I, where like people will be like, well, we could just build it ourselves, and we're like, okay, cool, like I'll tell you how to build it, like, and now have fun spending the next 18 to 24 months, and then I'll be 18 to 24 months ahead of you. Like at that point, I think a lot of times people think things are a lot more. I'm not saying this is what Kelly was saying, but
no, I think there's a lot of what and Kelly's doing it to irk me for a specific reason, but there is there is an idea. I'll say it like this: there is an idea that like what we do is and I'm not going to say it's hard, but what we do is like, well, that's super. You're just taking data and you're just putting it like on a beautiful thing, right? And like maybe vibe coding totally like wrecked this for everybody, right? Like they're thinking like, bro, I'm gonna build this and it's gonna be so cool, right? And like I'm gonna spin this up and like, hey, dude, if you believe that, man, go for it. I want you to go for it, But I will say that I've been in this data, in this little tiny world that I am in since January 2017. And I'm still learning new stuff every single day about this data, and new problems and new challenges to solve, adoption challenges to solve as it relates to like, this is pretty cool, but what the hell do I do with it? What do? I don't know what to do. You have to educate around that. So, I think that, there's always a mindset of like, give me that. I want to go build something else and ingest it, right? And we do that with a number of partners today. And the value is just through the roof. It's so much data. It's crazy.
Awesome.
What data points would you say is people most surprised that they actually find the most value? Like, hey, I'm coming in here and I want to see two things. For Thomas, I want to know how many loans they close and what was their volume. But then what is the next thing where they're like, ooh, I'm actually getting this from this. I'm getting that.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, I would say one that I talked about early this morning that sometimes I don't talk about as much as I probably should. There's two things. I would say frequency of how often an agent is actually using their top referral partner, their top originator. So we show you something in Model Match today. We call it like the frequency chart. It shows you all the originators they work with, how much volume they've done. Okay, table stake stuff, right? Well, it's not that complicated. Here's all the people that they worked with, the originators. But then above that, we show you how often those top three originators on a rolling monthly basis show up in those transactions. And sometimes you see it's heavy recent, right? Or that originator hasn't been showing up on transactions for the last 6 months. So that's one really simple example of like, that's
an action item. Go hunt. There's your guy.
Yeah. It's not necessarily like, oh, here's the top 3 originators that they worked with, and here's how much money a business they've done together. It's like, how often are they maybe, we don't know, but how often are they calling on those originators on a monthly basis? You can see it pop. That's one simple one. The second one is huge. This one's huge. And coming from software, it's always been huge for me. And I think it's starting to catch on kind of in the non-software world. What is your borrower churn rate? So what's borrower churn? How many borrowers are you losing? Where are they going? Right? So like in our new borrower insights tool, you can see this. You can see it in the main Model Match app, which is, I want to see every transaction. And I want to see, did that borrower refinance that loan, but with another originator? And that's your borrower churn. They refied. They didn't call you, bro. They called somebody else.
So how is that? Like you're able to put your existing data into your platform, and then it'll be like, hey, Thomas was one of your guys, and Thomas refied last month.
No, it's actually just, if you think about it, it's a product of the transaction data timeline. Right. So we know that obviously, hey, Chris, you did this loan at this time with PK. PK is the borrower. Well, we know that property then refied that original loan that you did. Are you the originator on that refi?
Got it.
Or someone else the originator on that refi?
Smart.
And so when that happens, those are the borrowers that, now it could be for a variety of reasons. It could be, they went to their bank and they got a good refi, right? Or whatever it may be. There's so many reasons why that occurred beyond just you lost a borrower. But just like in software, I know my churn rate every day. I'm obsessed over it. I look at it every day. Is it fluctuating? Where is it going? How's it going? What's it doing? We make a change. Did that affect it? Right? That's a software thing, in my opinion, right? Sometimes manufacturers have things like reorders. How many reorders are we getting, or stuff like that? But you don't really hear about that from a loan officer perspective. And so now, for the last year or so, we've been kind of putting the focus on it of like, you need to know how many borrowers are refining but not calling on you, because that's where you discover where the leaky bucket is. And you can only fix that or take action to fix that or solution for it at some level if you know it exists. It's going to hurt your feelings though. And when we first did it, that was the first thing I said was like, yo, we're going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. And dude, some of them are good though. Some of them are like, dang, like you have some really good retention. You're staying in front of your borrowers. You're keeping top of mind with your borrowers, just like we do with our referral partners. Borrowers no different. We're doing that, and we can see that in the numbers. And then you see some where like you're churning and burning hard, right? And you're only as good as your next loan. Let's not be like that, right? Let's take action to solution for it.
That is quite possibly the greatest data point ever for recruiting an LO, I would argue.
You can also look at probably like lifetime value.
Of course. Yes. Yeah. You could go really far with just using that as your foundation, right? It's just the simple fact of I did a loan, that borrower refied that loan, and I didn't get the loan. Why? Where'd it go? Did it go to a broker? Did it go to a bank? Did it go to a retail? Sometimes it goes to another LO at your same company. I've seen that, right? So like, where is it going, right? And a lot of stuff going on there, and then from there, you can look at it over a period of time. If you think about it, you could analyze it right now, dude. Is it going to a servicer? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot.
I mean, did you see a lot of like need for you guys to kind of drive people to like, I'm imagining it started with look at all this data, and then it was just like, I don't even know what to do with it. Paralysis through analysis. And it was like, I'm going to hold your hand and here's these things. I mean, have you seen that kind of grow for you as kind of the out of the box reports?
Oh yeah, 100%. I still think we handhold as much as we possibly can. And obviously, because that naturally increases adoption when you do that, right? I also do think that selling software is a lot different when you're selling to salespeople, right? Like it's just naturally different. It's not like the telecom world. It's not like any marketing. I've done marketing products. It's unlike that. They are 100% commission. They're in the trenches doing their work. A dollar has to equal 10, or I'm not paying attention to it. And so a lot of the times you see all this data in front of you, and you're like, what does it equate to? Work. It's like the worst word. It's like the worst word ever, right? Like, I have to do work now, right? And you're never going to get away from that. But like, how do we? And we're going through this right now with a lot of changes coming to Model Match, which is, look, with everything that's happening on the AI side, how do we take everything that we have and just make it super stupid simple? Like, you should be able. And I have a motto now. I'm going to coin this on this call. It's my motto. It's mine. It's we won't, maybe even today we won't use software. We talk to it. We just have a conversation with it. We talk to it, and it's going to give us what it believes we should be most focused on. And it's that direct action to get the most value, the most ROI as quickly as you possibly can. And I think that's true for everybody.
So,
So
give me an example of like, hey, I want to make sure I minimize my churn. That might be something you would say.
Yeah, well, like, so it could be, right? Today in Borrower Insights, one of our new tools, you can tell Borrower Insights, hey, find me borrowers that are in Phoenix, Arizona, that closed between 2022 and 2023 that are in the best position to refinance. It's going to go out and find you those borrowers.
That's pretty cool.
Right?
Is it like a chatbot type of thing?
Yeah. Yep. And it's just built right in. Now, the traditional way is you go into filters and you start to filter on those different attributes and those different metrics to find them. And each one of those clicks, doesn't matter if it's a loan officer, it doesn't matter if it's any other role in any industry. Each one of those clicks is, oh man, you know, I got to figure out what is this filter going to give me back, right? And I think that's why less and less people are using Google today. They're just going to ChatGPT or going to Claude because, dude, it is a lot faster just to type out your question and just give me a summary, give me what you think I should look at.
So since you brought up AI, as a head of product, not talking about the product itself, but your day to day, what does your AI usage look like? What are some tools that you use on your side?
Oh, I think Thomas is AI now at this point. I'm just the embodiment, manifestation of AI.
He's the avatar.
You know, everything. ChatGPT obviously for research. Claude, I primarily use Claude now, but Claude for research.
Wait, can we pause on that one? Because I keep hearing this, and then PK shook his head yes. So what is driving you away from GPT and over to Claude?
You know, I don't know when it started to happen. Actually, at first, I thought that Claude just looked better. And I was like, oh, you know, I like the way Claude looks. And then I think as I started using Claude a lot more, I think, in my opinion, now it's just my opinion, I think in my opinion, it goes deeper, right? So it gives you more reasoning behind what it's doing and what it's suggesting. But you know, again, all of them, you know, you can make them all sound like you and feel like and know who you are and all that sort of stuff. But once I started using projects in Claude, you're not getting me off Claude ever. I'm in it.
And talk a little bit about how you use that.
I have a project for literally everything call it segment that I'm focused on, right? So I have a project that pulls in resources and examples and different system prompts for deep research into various different types of products, right? I have one that will help me refine and simplify my LinkedIn post. And it pulls in all my past LinkedIn posts. It knows my tone of voice, and it helps me sort of build a foundation for it. And then I tweak it from there. I have ones that help me write product release notes. I have ones that, you know, help me transcribe my YouTube videos that I do, right? So I have it transcribed, write me descriptions for these YouTube videos, help me write a LinkedIn post, let me tweak it from here. And So I have a project for literally everything, including my personal life. Even my personal life is on there sometimes, right? I have, if I want to go do something, if I'm at a certain spot, well, tell me the quickest way to get to this spot, and then tell me spots along the way, and it's going to map that out for me, right? So what I love about it is that it's not telling me exactly what to do, but it's taking a lot of the busy. I could do all of that, but each one of those is going to take a couple hours. So it's just going to shave off a lot of the busy work and then just get me closer to what I'm looking for faster, but not give me exactly what I'm looking for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. But you find the output from Claude to be better than the output from GPT?
I do.
You do? All right.
I do. I do.
All right. I guess the boomer, Chris, is going to have to finally break down and get a Claude. I got Gemini. I got GPT. I guess. My only problem is GPT knows everything about me, and Claude knows nothing.
It's funny that that's becoming a new thing, but yeah, you can. Then you got to try Gemini Gems too. That's the thing is like forcing yourself to try these other things is hard. Like you're like, that sounds cool, but I'm busy. I'm going to fire up something in one of my projects.
Anyone watching this, like, please go, if you want to start up, is figure out how to create a digital soul of a person, right? Which is basically what this is, if you think about it, right? To where I can pull all of the information that each LLM knows about me, and I can transfer my digital soul from one platform to another.
So, Andrew, you know a little bit about my politics work. That's actually something that was tried, not with AI, but tried in the state of Utah last year. It got killed, but it was basically the ability to export your social media profile to another new social media platform. It got killed, but I was like, we need a standard way to make it.
I mean, that's what Blue Sky is, really, like, ultimately, right? That's why they designed it the way they designed it. But yeah, if I could get GPT to teach Claude everything about me, like that would be fantastic.
You should ask it how to do it and see what it says, man.
There you go. PK, you had a question earlier, I think, but weren't able to jump in, or did you finally?
I mean, I was gonna make a point, like we're making analogies to what model match is. One idea that I had was like the way you can maybe describe it is like in the business or I guess like finance, you have like the Bloomberg terminal where you can look up the values of all these businesses and how they're performing and things like that. It's almost like the Bloomberg terminal for loan officer data. And so I was going to make that analogy there, but I'm forgetting the second question I had. There was something along the lines of that.
So are most of your customers, are they LOs, Thomas, or do you also get like originators, like in an enterprise situation where they're leveraging the tool for recruiting of LOs?
Sure. Yeah, we have users of all roles. The majority of our users today are your loan originator. But we have single user. Anyone can go to Model Match and sign up and get an account. Those are primarily originators. We have small teams, branches, enterprise, all the way up.
And I'd say like maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, Thomas, but vendors often sleep on this. Like there's so much as a vendor, like PK could be like, oh, I want to go see who's crushing it wholesale wide over here. And, you can see big volume too. Because I do think it's funny, the number of branches. It seems like 10 million is that magical lie number. Like I do 10 million a month. It's like, let me go ahead and look that up real quick.
Let me pull that up.
There's I won't name any names, but yeah, there's definitely we definitely have software companies in our space that utilize Model Match to better prospect, right? When it comes to teams that they're approaching or approaching them. There are platforms in our industry that do price based on the amount of volume that you do. And so they use that as a baseline. It's all directional, but they use it as a baseline. So, we've never required like an NMLS ID to use Model Match. We've never required enterprise only. We've always had the pricing on the website. If you're an LO that pays for something themselves and you want Model Match, you can go sign up on your own. If you're a recruiter, go sign up on your own. If you're an enterprise, call me, So we have it all. Yeah, all the way across.
I love that. So speaking of recruitment, like, do you see the world, like, How do you see AI jumping in the recruitment world, if at all, in the next year or two?
I think AI is jumping into everyone's world, no matter what role you do. I think that there's a lot of, I do fear sometimes there's a lot of hype. Oh, there's always hype around anything that's gaining a lot of traction. But I do think
Thomas,
that
you can say that AI is overhyped right now. You can say
God.
that.
It's so overhyped.
The short term is overhyped. The long term is not. Yeah.
I think that people imagine you have a company of AI agents that are out there like running your entire company. And I just hope to God one day you wake up and like you don't have some catastrophic bug that got introduced from your late night vibe coding session and you have no idea how to solve for that. Like these are like, we're living in the real world. Like there are real world problems that people rely upon you for. And I think it's very dangerous to live that way. But I do think that AI does one thing really, really well today, and it shores up so much of the small, nuanced, busy work that we spend sometimes a long time doing. I think that's where it's really shining right now. I don't know what the next 5 years looks like when it comes to stuff like that, but right now, I know personally it helps me a ton on that front. But look, it's never going to be me, right? It's never going to replace the human-to-human connection. I don't believe that necessarily. And that might be a hard line to take right now. And this is being recorded, so I might look bad in 5 years. But like, there's a lot that is still to be desired. There's a lot of unknowns. And I just don't buy every LinkedIn expert guru out there telling me that I'm out of a job next week.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. And I'm gonna say it, Chris. I'm gonna get myself in trouble with somebody watching this show, and I don't really care. But look at UWM, Rocket, and SunWest. Where are the layoffs? Yeah. Like you've built all this amazing AI technology that's going to put all these people out of business, out of work, or out of jobs, then where? And obviously everybody on the show knows it's building tech is hard. Like it is not. Yeah. It is not. Chris and I had this conversation last night as well. Like it is not something. I mean, you guys have spent years and years on model match, and obviously you still have a full bank of engineers and developers who are working every day. PK, you guys have been at it for a long time, and we've been at it for 19 months. Like this stuff is not easy, and I feel like there's this, especially in the mortgage industry, but really everywhere, is this like you can vibe code something overnight and presto zingo. I mean,
yeah.
We do the easy, like we do. I honestly, when we started Ask Bob, I swear to God, I told somebody this earlier today. I thought this is such an easy problem. Like 12 months from now, I'll be on to something else because I'll be bored. Right. And 19 months later, I'm like, fuck, like, goddamn, there's so much to do. Right. Like it'll never end. Right. From that standpoint. So.
I'm a little upset. I'm a little bit. It's weird. I think I've had a Chris May slap in the face of naivete with like people who, like, I was on a call, I told you, Andrew, with a certain person asking questions, and I'm over here telling them all sorts of stuff about AI, RAG, vector stores, all these different things. And I see this person post on LinkedIn that they're going to be on a panel about AI. And I was like, what the hell is happening? Right. Like, like I'm over here with a little imposter syndrome, Andrew, with like our speaking gig. And I'm like, I don't know, part of me wants to just post on AI. Like, here's our platform. I like doing underwriting in house, like just show a big diagram of how to do it. Just be like, hey, here's how you can go do AI underwriting in house, and just show a diagram. Like, here it is. But anyway, I think it's funny the number of people that are just like, I'm an expert. It's like, I was on a call with you and like just feeding you info yesterday.
Yeah, it's gotten out of control. But I think the bigger thing is again, Thomas, you put it perfectly, right? Which is what AI is good for today are the small incremental things that are annoying busy work, right? I'll give you a perfect example is I do some volunteering with entrepreneurship high school locally, right? And I need to put together, we put on a pitch contest every year, and we're remodifying our rubric this year. And it would have taken me probably 3 or 4 hours to sit down and design a new rubric. What did I do? I went into GBT. I told it exactly what I wanted the basis for it is. And it's not the final, but it got me 90% of the way there.
Yeah.
And now I just go in and I tweak it, and what would have taken 3 hours may take 5 minutes, maybe 15 minutes.
100%. And this is where I made a post about this recently. This is where I think sometimes I stand out a little bit on this front, which is, look, if you're sitting there today thinking that, oh, AI is going to do a lot of this work for me, I'm going to be lounging, drinking pina coladas on the beach by noon every single day, I think you have I think you're going to be awakened here pretty soon, which is AI. People are going to expect more from you, not less.
Right.
Because now a lot of that busy work is being taken care of, and that's a fantastic thing. We should lean on that. Let's live in reality. Let's lean on that and use it for that, and evolve with it. It's going to evolve. Let's evolve with it and ride that wave. But at the end of the day, you are expected to do more, not less.
Right.
Now you can go deeper. Now you can touch more borrowers. Now you can touch more agents. Now you can go deeper with each of those agents, each of those borrowers that you're touching, because you're not spending hours having to do all this other work that you had to do in the past. It's being taken care of for you at some level. So I'm a firm believer that AI is not a replacement. It's an enhancer, but it's also going to make you, or it's going to be, the expectation is that you're going to need to do more, not less.
I think one thing I've noticed, I love what you just brought up, Thomas. I think one thing I've noticed is that a lot of people expect the opposite, which is they want to do the bare minimum, but would still want to make whatever they're being compensated today. And there's a lot of things I'm sure we all on this call have seen, oh, this could work better in this industry, or this other thing could work better. And it frees us up to go work on those things and make those things better. And if you look at the winners in the market, the names Andrew mentioned, they're winning because they've done more and more for the end customer, whether it's the broker or the borrower at the end of the day. Whereas a lot of lenders, I feel are trying to do the bare minimum and just trying to get by and, just focused on, getting loans to the door, not really considering the full picture of their broker experience or their borrower experience, and dropping the ball on so many fronts there.
I was talking to a regional, fantastic dude. I made a post about this too. He showed me his whole system, AI driven, I'll say, from start to finish. And when I talk about you're expected to do more, number one, it's a lot of work to put these systems together. It's not easy. It's not overnight. You just go tell Claude, go do something for me, and Mr. Butler Claude comes and does it, and it's working really well. You got to make refinements. But for instance, in his case, right, he's creating super deep, highly personalized presentations using Gamma, and those are going out the door in less than 15 minutes. So what happens now? The borrowers are expecting to receive something similar within a really short period of time after engaging and requesting more information. If you're a loan officer who's not doing that and you're in his market, he's doing that. So they're going to expect wow, this is killer looking, right? Look at this beautiful presentation. It lays out all my options. It's well written. He makes adjustments, of course, but it's well written, and it's hitting me real fast. So now the other loan officer that's not using something like that or deploying a system like that is not meeting potentially expectations of the borrowers in those markets. And that's where I think that's where we should live right now. Let's just be real with ourselves. Let's just live there. We're going to get here soon. But there's a lot of people, I think, that want to skip the roadmap a little bit. And unfortunately, in the development space, I do think there's a lot of, there's a lot of misdirection as it relates to your job ain't that hard. I can vibe code a CRM tomorrow, and it's that does suck, right? But I think as AI continues to evolve and we become more ingrained in what it can do and where it can take us, there's a ton of upside benefit to it. But let's evolve with it. Let's get there together.
The problem, the biggest concern I have, around this vibe coding BS.
I must have hit a nerve with the vibe coding on this one.
What?
I said I must have hit a nerve with the vibe coding.
No. I mean, Chris and I always joke about this, right? If you are a 20-year experienced top level engineer, there is definitely something to be said about AI assisted coding. And that's what I would call it. Vibe coding is this bullshit on Instagram that Jimmy, who doesn't even know how to spell GitHub, is going to spin up a CRM in a weekend, right? And Chris and I talked about this. It is the grift of 2025, right? And what you're seeing is, and I saw one of these yesterday, is somebody is vibe coding something in Lovable that doesn't friggin' work. They're putting it out online. They're making the subscription, month to month, and they're making it just expensive enough that it's worth it to them, but just low enough that the other party doesn't care if they lose $100, $200, $300, right? And then they just shut it off, right? And so, like, you've got Jimmy over here who may get 5,000 people that sign up for his $100 grift. And what I worry about is what that starts to do is it starts to make it more and more difficult for those people that are creating true enterprise products, because now everybody goes, AI is fake. It doesn't actually work.
Yeah, I'm already paying for some of the ex-boyfriend's mistakes. Like, my client, but
That's exactly what it is.
So
You're
Thomas
paying for the sins of others.
Andrew and PK have been in our AI. We have like a developer group we have in Slack, and Thomas, you feel free to join. But there's some of the smartest people that are multi-exits, multi-millionaire. And Andrew, you saw how we're using it is some way that no technologist, like if you're not a top tier technologist, you couldn't use it that way.
Oh God, they walked when the one guy from Google or Meta, I can't remember, was like walking us through. Like I was like, I'm lost. Like I don't at this point, I have no idea what you're talking about, bro. Like this is cool and it's really neat to watch, but like he literally was like laying out how I could do it, and I can tell you, I don't have the experience or the knowledge base to do what he told me to do. Right. Like, and so you expect, and it's this ridiculous belief that AI is fairy dust, and it's just not at the end of the day. So anyways,
you lost me at terminal.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Well, no, I mean, another example is, I don't know, have you guys seen Comfy UI? Have you seen this platform? Mm-hmm. Okay, so our guy who does all of our marketing uses this platform called Comfy UI, and because he generates the images of me and of like our logo, like that are absolutely mind blowing. And I was like, dude, like over the weekend, I'm like, how do you do this? And he's like, oh, use Comfy AI or UI, right? And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And like I went out, I had to pick up the phone and call him. And I was like, dude, I can't figure out how to set this thing up. Like, what do you? So again, though, it just presents the whole point, like you said, Thomas, which is this stuff's not easy. And the other piece that I worry about is that people start to feel like they're dumb or they're falling behind because they've been given this social media promise that like you just pay the $200 to ChatGPT, Pro or whatever it is, and all your problems will be solved. And it's like, no, it's not. Like,
Yeah, no, it's not. In fact, your problems probably just got a whole bunch worse, right? Like you don't even know it yet,
Right? Yeah, exactly.
On the soft, you put your sales hat on the software side of things, right? Your customers, you can't sell this is hard, right? But at the end of the day, software to software, this is not an easy. It's a very stressful life. And growing up in software, I think you age a lot faster than most people. I definitely see it amongst my friends. I'm like, man, I look like I'm 35. I'm 35 going on 65. Yeah, I feel it. But you do. There is that battle is going to get greater. That battle is going to get harder to fight as it goes on. I think the reason why we're winning is because we're already thinking about it. Right. But I think, and that's where the left behind thing kind of maybe comes from. But, I don't know. I don't think in terms of like, oh, gee, I didn't jump on the train, I'm getting left behind. The train is still there 5 years from now. I guarantee it's still there.
Right.
It's not like you can't learn it, right? It's still gonna be there.
Yeah.
So
well, and I think the new moat in technology is relationships.
We can jump on that
more than ever. Like if you don't know someone on a deep level or have someone who's willing to rep you, right? Who's on that deep level, I think so the people honestly, the people who I think are going to have the hardest time, like when you talk about mortgage tech, people who are trying to come from outside of mortgage and come in to solve new problems. Like I feel bad for them, and that's an uphill. No, I do, because it's an uphill battle. Like, and then what they have to do is they have to pay a ton of money to people who will rep them within the industry, which that's an entirely new job, isn't it? Really, within the last few years, it seems like it's become more and more popular. But
to your point, like something like, hey, new guy comes out of Stanford and he's like, hey, I want to do a data platform like this. And then Eric Levin looks at him and says, dude, you're not coming to my territory, bud. Like, that's kind of how I see it.
It's like gang turf over here. You know?
Yeah, he's like, come on, dude.
This is our neighborhood.
This is our neighborhood. So, Thomas, how many people have said that you look like Avicii?
Oh, whoa. That's like
what?
Avicii. You don't know who Avicii is?
No, I do not know who Avicii is.
I don't know.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thomas is a boomer like me.
Oh, really? Man.
Oh, we're going private chat on this one, huh?
No, we're gonna copy and paste a link in here just to. I'm feeling like a boomer now.
You don't want to screen share?
Okay, we got to take a look.
I don't know who this is, but
I've never thought that, but that's a good one, Chris.
This is a compliment. This is a serious compliment.
Thomas, you just saw it. You got to see that there is.
I'm looking at the image. I'm not sure if this is an insult or a compliment yet.
This is a compliment.
I would go, it's compliment, dude. That's a good looking guy. There you go. It's a compliment.
You're the
So I guess I'm the first. There we go.
You're the first one. There you go, man.
I don't even know who. I still don't know who it is.
I don't know. Now I'm gonna go down like a rabbit hole.
Andrew, you're a boomer. I knew you wouldn't.
Obscure male model or something that Chris follows on Instagram. I don't know.
We're gonna bless Andrew's years in Boston. We're gonna bless your years in Boston.
Oh, okay. There you go. Great. I have that to look forward to. Chris, do you have any plane tickets to any NBC? Where are you going? Have you bought your plane tickets?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Thomas.
Oh, I was like, Thomas, are you going?
Thomas, are you doing any conferences this fall?
I'm sending Avicii in my place. He's my double these days. No,
well, if you Google Avicii, he died at 17, but
not at 17.
You don't believe in reincarnation? You're looking at it. Come on,
quick.
Personally, I don't have anything booked right now. Obviously, Eric Levin is our travel man. He hits the road a lot. I know Eric Levin's going to be at TMC. He's going to be at Sales Mastery. So we have a few model match ones on the books. I'm sure I'll hit maybe one or two eventually here in the near future. But
so we asked you Kelly Yale's question, and so next week it's we're doing a little twist here. We're interviewing PK and his co-founder Evan from Loanscape, and so you get to ask those guys a question.
Oh, I have a messed up one. Well, since there's two, I think I have to have two questions.
I like it.
Gosh.
Okay. Here, Evan, why did you cancel your Model Match account? I was very insulted by that.
Oh,
shots fired.
And then for you, PK, would be we'll do a serious one for you, PK. How do you feel about AI in the mortgage tech and the presence of vibe coders?
Okay.
All right. You have a whole week to think about that, PK. For everybody who's watching, but we'll put this out on LinkedIn. Next week, Chris and PK and I will all be in lovely Newport, Rhode Island for the New England Mortgage Bankers Conference. So no one asked us. We'll actually be on Wednesday because all of us will be on planes to Boston on Tuesday. If you're going to be at any MBC, please grab us, come up, talk to us about AI. This is a big thing, and Thomas, I'm sure that you would probably echo this as well. Is I think with everything that's going on right now, like even if you don't think you want my product, I still want to talk to you. Like I still want to talk to people. Like, what are you doing? Like, where is your head at? It goes back to what I said earlier when I had somebody from a conference who was like, "Oh, I'm not your guy," and it was like, "But no, you are," because everyone is right now. And I said this at the Housing Wire event on stage it's important for lenders to talk to technology partners and give your opinions. Like what's broken, what do you want to see in the space? Because otherwise, like the industry can't move forward together if we're not constantly having these conversations. So.
Amen.
Thomas, thank you so much. It's great to meet you and hear about Model Match. Really appreciate you you being on the show today.
Appreciate you all bringing me on. It was super fun.
All right. Thanks,
all right,
everybody. We'll see you next week for episode 20 with
see ya.
PK and Evan. See you guys.
See ya.